Hello everyone. I thought I would take you in game again. We're going to be going through how to thoroughly go through a system and looking for any errors and issue reporting. So to take you in Solus system, this is where we're going to be doing the testing today. I'll just be doing a very basic example of what I expect, and I'll be doing a work process that you guys can go through afterwards and use to help report any type of issues. So first thing to do is when you actually get into the system, you'll see that something comes up. I want to make up here in the left-hand corner. This is important for me to know that this is the right name of the system itself, and that's appropriate. The other things you're going to be listening for is the music. Make sure that there is the music within the system. There's 3 types of music for every system. First is just like the resting normal phase. Second is more of like a hostile sounding one, and the other one's a battle sound. Hopefully it will switch between all 3, but make note if you don't hear any music at all. But also make sure that you don't have your audio, rather your music turned down to off. So anyways, the first thing I want you guys to do is when you dock in the system is just to kind of look around. So you're going to go to your all function here, and you want to make sure that pretty much all the systems come up normal, like there isn't any errors, naming errors here. What you're going to do is just kind of go look through each one. So I'm going to start off here with this Carillion Corvette, and that's right. I'm going to do the MC-30C frigate, and that's named appropriately. And also you're going to be going through the static hyperbuoys. Now we set this up for players. The cruise at your speed that you go is 10,000 is not going to be what it's going to be like when we release. It's only going to be about 300. So this will be the main route of transport, and then further we're looking to develop the through Ellahook dynamic hyperbuoys, but we'll see how that goes. So anyways, what you're going to do is you're going to dock there. It's going to when you're docking, you're going to make sure obviously you're going to go the right way. If there's any problem with the docking itself, and if there's any errors at all, so sometimes you may be released too close to a planet, for example, and it might be better for us just to pull back the hyperlane a bit. So let us know if that's the case as well. So just to cover a recap, make sure the name's appropriate, make sure the audio is appropriate, the music, make sure all the names are appropriate in this sidebar here. When you're doing hyperlanes, make sure that you can dock with all of them appropriately, and then I'll get to the bases and how I want you guys to kind of address that. Now all the bases should be dockable. If there's crashes, then that's things you need to report, right? Remember always to give me your FL SPU and your FL client logs, and also always assign all errors to me, Sushi, when you do the tickets. Okay, so it's taking a little bit of time to dock here. I think I can just go a little bit faster. There we go. So now we're going to be in the hyperlanes. We're just making sure the hyperlane works, obviously. You also want to pull up the map here, so you can see that there is hyperlanes. This is where you know you're going. So I want you guys, when you test the systems, I want you to go through every single hyperbuoy here, hyperlane. Make sure that works, that you're not undocking too close to something, and make sure there isn't any issues with that regard. So the first thing I'm going to do, so we're just going to kind of scoop around here. You can see our Freedom Station is right here. Now you can see if you can dock there. So when you dock, what I want to make sure that the docking is easily accessible by the player. That doesn't take too long to dock at all. And then I want to go through the base screens as well, so you guys can see that. So obviously you want to make sure that this comes up appropriately. I can also check the wireframe of the base, which I have done on all the bases. You can see that right there. And just make sure that I'm docking here appropriately, so I should dock right in here, like so. There we go. So now it might be the yeah, so I was able to dock without a problem. So everything comes up. So now I want you guys to do is when you're going through bases, you need to go through it kind of systematically. So first thing you want to do is check the bar, see if there's any crashes at all in the bar, and then you want to check. So you can see that it might be a problem here with the NPC names. So that's something that we need to address, because that should work. Now, we've been having some problems with our info card names. I don't know why. I don't know if this is the introduction of the hack that we use to have the two info cards on either side, but if that is, that's not the problem. We can just input the names. We have it all readily available. So then you want to go to the Community Trader. Now, this will be more important when we get the economy up and running, to make sure that there's things that that are supposed to be at the appropriate base. But just for right now, what I want you guys to do is to make sure that the screen is working properly. Same thing with the equipment section. Make sure that it's working appropriately, and make sure there's any crashes. And then you want to see the ship dealer as well. You just want to kind of go through it like that. And then also what you want to do is go backwards again, because I found that there might be some problems. It's easy. The game works when you go from the landing deck to the ship dealer, but might not work if you go from the ship dealer to equipment dealer. It's a weird bug that I did find, so I just want you guys to kind of go through it front and back. So for this one, all I can really report is that the names here are not showing up, and they should, but not a problem, easily fixed. So what I would note is that the base that I docked at, and the problem with the NPC names for the players. So now I'm going to launch a space. You want to make sure that you can launch the space. There might be an error where you might crash if the undocking is not done, if the hit points or hard points are not done properly. So I was able to undock properly, which is great. And that's pretty much it. Like, that's what you guys are going to be looking at. You guys are going to be looking at the systems to make sure that all the names are appropriate. Info cards are not done on all the systems, but that being said, for info cards that are done in systems, let's see here. So in this case, this one is done. So see if they are done in your system, and just when you check on them. So what you want to here is the current information, or F9. So I want to make sure that there's any XML errors that Curry has requested. Also, if you can think of any additions that would make the systems neat, feel free to name them. Like, what I mean by that is like stationary objects. You can see that Sullust is pretty well done with a huge capital fleet, but some other ones are a little bit sparse. So you can say, you know what, it would be really cool if we could add that. That would be awesome if you guys could give us that type of feedback. So that's pretty much it. That's a very, very general base of what I want you guys to go through now. Basically, I want you, pulling up the map here. F6. There we go. So pulling up the map here, what we want you guys to do is to check that the layout is appropriate, that it follows what you're seeing here, that the names are appropriate, that the hyper lanes are working and are functional. And that you're not undocking, say for example, or you're not unlaunching in the base. For planets, oh, I forgot about this. For planets, when you dock at planets, make sure that when you undock, you're not going towards the planet. That sometimes happens if the orientation of the hyper buoy is not correct. So that's something that you'll comment on, saying, this hyper buoy is launching me into the planet. I'll have all this down in the work process, but I just want to kind of give you guys what I'm expecting. Obviously, if there are any questions about anything, let me know, and I could go into more detail about that. Once again, you guys are doing awesome. I'm so pleased with the testing and all the work you guys have been doing. It's really been invaluable for us as a development crew, and I can't thank you enough. Alright, that's it from me, and any questions at all, please ask. There's no stupid questions. Rather.